Hey everybody, welcome back. I have been gone for a little bit and I understand, but there really hasn't been too much in theaters that I really wanted to watch. So, moving on, let's talk about Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Alright, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is a direct sequel of Guardian Galaxies Volume 1, aka Volume 1. This is Volume 2, directed by James Gunn, once again. And obviously we see the return of Star-Lord, we got Gamora, we got Drax, we got Rocket Raccoon, and then we got the return of Baby Groot. So with the return of all the characters that we've seen before, we also got some familiar faces. We got Yondu and we got Nebula, who are kind of villains in the beginning of the movie and also villains kind of in Volume 1 a little bit. But yeah, it's really exciting to see these guys back in action. So really what I want to talk about a little bit is I want to talk a little bit about the plot, a little bit about some pros and then some cons, and then give you my overall thoughts of the movie. The story kind of starts off with the Guardians, you know, all five of them, even with little 4.5 kind of baby Groot is there as well. And it opens up with this beautiful shot that is, they're fighting this interdimensional beast who's trying to steal these batteries from the Sovereign Race. And the Sovereign Race are a bunch of gold people, and they're really high and pretentious, uppity kind of people. And so, but anyways, Groot plugs in the music, they're listening to music, and they kind of get in a quarrel of like, why are you playing music right now, especially during this time? And they start playing music, and they're fighting in the background, but the camera is focusing on Groot the whole time, just baby Groot just dancing, and it's a hilarious opener. And in the background you see, you know, everyone getting their butt kicked, and it's fantastic. So once they defeat this interdimensional beast in true Rocket fashion, he steals the batteries, and then they're going to be chased by the Sovereign for the rest of the movie, pretty much, is what happens. But I'm not going to go too much into plot details there. Well, from there, they meet Ego, which is Kurt Russell, and they're bringing some big guns, pun intended, you know, James Gunn, into the film franchise, and I really enjoyed that aspect of the film. But they try to figure out fatherly relationships is something that's really big in this movie, and that's where the plot is driven. And from there, I'm going to talk about some pros of the movie that I really enjoyed. So some pros of the movie I really enjoyed were there's a crap ton of comedy. It's a very good continuation from the first film. It constantly comes back and forth, and honestly, I've seen a couple of film critics and some people on YouTube talk about how this is pretty much more or less the same movie as Volume 1, and I kind of agree, but also disagree. It's a very different context, and that's what I enjoy. I actually enjoy the continuation of the comedy, the quippy one-liners from Drax and Rocket and Quill. They all have their moments, and honestly, in my opinion, Drax steals the show with most of his one-liners, because this is how he is, his personality. He just states something so blatantly obvious, but also at the same time is, you know, unspoken, and it's hilarious at the same time. So I really enjoyed that aspect. Another thing I really enjoyed is the values-driven aspect of this film. This movie is really about father and son relationships, or just relationships in general as a family, and that's something that I think drives this movie a little bit further into the emotional state that at least I had, because my relationship with my father is a little strained, but not too much. But I definitely, it pulled on some heartstrings for myself, and I really enjoyed that aspect of the film because it just dived deeper. And yeah, they mask it in comedy, and yeah, that might be a negative for some people, like, oh, this over the top comedic trying to make me feel emotions at the same exact time. I disagree with that. I actually think, especially with my personality, I try to mask my emotions mostly with comedy all the time. So this movie just speaks for me. When it's a serious situation and there's a lot of stuff going down in the real world, I mask it with comedy, and something that I really enjoy. And I think that a lot of people maybe misunderstand that, and that's something I really enjoy about this movie. Especially the relationship that Yondu and Rocket have, and then Yondu and Peter, and honestly Peter and Ego as well. There's just great chemistry here, and that's something I really enjoyed about this movie. Alright, so moving on from the heartfelt kind of stuff that I really enjoyed about the movie, there's some cons as well. Storyline is a little shaky. The bad guys in the Sovereign Race, they're kind of throwaway villains, just like Marvel really doesn't have too many villains that really are memorable, and that's something they're going to have to work on, but that's fine. But overall, just the story was a little choppy. It just kind of felt oddly paced, and it just felt like just another edition of Guardians of the Galaxy. It didn't really further along too much, except for them driven as a family. So I really can't say that's too much of a con, but that's something that I personally have a problem with a little bit. Second is the visual effects. The visual effects are, for the most part, stunning and fantastic. Especially one sequence in particular, which I won't actually go into detail because it's hilarious to actually just watch in general. But there's some sequences that also take me out of the movie a little bit, and I really don't enjoy that a little bit because I was watching it in 3D in the IMAX, and there were some sequences I'm like, wow, that doesn't really look 2017 kind of 3D effects there, and I thought that was very strange. But overall, I think this movie is a fantastic film, a fantastic movie that is driven by family and has really good special effects for the most part. So overall, I'm going to give this movie a 4 out of 5. I definitely recommend this movie. It's definitely a good continuation of Guardians of the Galaxy. I wouldn't say it's better than the first. It's probably slightly a little bit below Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. Overall, I think this is a fantastic movie, and I think you should all check it out. So with that all being said, like, comment, share down below, and also don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time. I'm not jonesing around.